Hi and welcome to this week's walkthrough video. This week we are looking at the story of Hannah and Samuel together. If you haven't already done so, can I encourage you to head over to the website at truewaykids.com, and there you can download this week's lesson and follow along. So this week we're going to look at Hannah and Samuel, and as you print off a lesson on the front page you will see the cover. There you see Hannah outside the temple with her son Samuel, ready to keep her promise to God. On the first page, as you enter it, you have the introduction. There is a QR code. If you click on it, it'll take you to a YouTube video playlist. It'll show you some of the worship songs as well as some of the stories in cartoon format that you can watch with your kid. Again, I recommend that you first start by reading some of these passages from the Bible. So they found in 1 Samuel chapters 1 through to 3. So there's lots of things that we could talk about when we explore these passages relating to Hannah and Samuel, but we're going to focus on a few key points. One is that God hears our prayers, that we can talk to God. Samuel was born as a result of Hannah turning to God and praying, and God heard Hannah's prayer, and God hears our prayers. It's important for our children to know that they can talk to God at any time. And Samuel, when he was in the temple, God called him Samuel and spoke to him. So not only can we speak to God, but God speaks to us. So the important part of this week's lesson is going to be developing this idea that we can have a relationship with God through prayer, that we can talk to him and he can talk to us. Then we're also going to see how we grow. So we read the verse that says that Samuel grew both physically but also in wisdom, so he grew spiritually. And we want our children to realize that they are growing physically, but how God wants them to grow also spiritually. We're going to learn about how important it is that we keep our promises. Hannah made a promise to God. God, if you give me a son, I'll give him back to you. And she kept her promise. We want to teach the children it's important that they keep their promises to others, but more important than anything else, that they keep the promises they make to God. And finally, the lesson that everything we have is a gift from God, and we are just looking after it. Hannah, she received Samuel as a gift from God, and she looked after him until he was old enough and gave him back to God. And we want to teach our children that everything they have, their things they own, but also their abilities and their health, their skills, their talents, are gifts from God. And we are called to look after them for him. So those are some of the main points. And again, in the introduction, it's just some ways which you can deliver and some activities you can do to help reinforce these truths. As you continue in the lesson, I've included a printable story again. I recommend you read it from the Bible first, but then you see the story of Hannah praying for the baby. She has the baby. She fills the promise, takes Samuel to the temple. Then he's sleeping when God calls him, and he wakes up and answers, and God speaks to Samuel. Again, it's just a good way to reinforce the Bible lesson. You can read at night, maybe before your child goes to bed or throughout the week. And I hope that you enjoy that. So games and activities. On this page you will find the games and activities I recommend to go alongside this lesson. The first one is I am growing. So what you can do is look at some old photos with your child of when they were a baby and look at how they've grown, how they're different now. Try to compare it. Maybe you have some old items of clothing which your child wore, maybe their first clothes they wore when they were born, and put it next to them now. See how small they were and how big they've grown. Then you can also look at how big they were and how much they weighed when they were born. Then do it again now. See how tall they've got, weigh them. And you can talk about how they've grown so much physically and how it's important that they grow spiritually. Secondly is a telephone. Most kids love to talk on telephones, whether it be smartphones or normal phones. So encourage your child, teach them how to use the phone, of course with your guidance and supervision, but also let them have a conversation with their grandparent or a relative who's living away. And talk about how amazing it is that even though we can't see that person, that we can still talk to them, that we can talk to them and they can talk to us. Then you can talk about how prayer is like a telephone for us to talk to God and talk to us. It's not a microphone, it's not us shouting to God, but rather we can have a two-way conversation with him. The final idea is to make a prayer journal. It'd be great, get a notepad, decorate it on the outside with your child and leave it in a prominent place, maybe in your family living room. As you go out for a week, when you come in for maybe a nice day out, write in it or put a photo and saying, thank you God for going to the park. Or thank you God for the nice food we had today. You can also pray for people. So if you know of a prayer request, or maybe you've got missionaries that you or your church support, cut out photos of them, put them in a book, and use it. Just a few moments each day, open it and pray for that point. Also record answered prayers in that prayer journal. So that brings us into the worksheets of this week's lesson. The first one is I am growing. That builds on the fact that we grow physically and spiritually. There's a place for you to put a baby photo. There's a place for you to put a photo of now of your child. And there you see the baby, so the idea is about how heavy they were and how tall they were when they were born. And that's them now, so how much they weigh now and how tall they are now. It's a comparison. Then next worksheet is of a telephone. So you'll see the numbers are very fainted here, and here they are much bolder. The idea is to cut out these numbers, and with your child help them to glue them into the right place. Help them to recognize what the numbers are, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Repeat it as they put a letter, and help them to also then put them in the right order onto the telephone. This will help with number recognition as well. Who's talking? Again, we talk about how prayer is like a telephone, how we can talk to each other. So here we have a list of friends on either side on the telephone, and the lines connecting. So the child must follow the lines in bold and see who is talking to which person. I've also included in this week, this is a listening worksheet. What you need to do for this to work is you need to click on that QR code or go to that YouTube video. And there's a video that plays some sound effects. You need to listen to the video, and as it plays, you will hear a noise of, say, a rooster. So then you draw a circle around the rooster. So not all the animals or items are there. Some of them are. So you need to listen carefully, find that one and draw a circle around it. Once you've listened through to that video once and you think you know all the answers, you can play that video, and as you watch it, the sound effects will also be accompanied by a picture of what it is, so they can check the answers against that video. But it's fun. It's talking about how Samuel had to listen to God and say, here I am, I'm listening. Now it's important for us to listen carefully. So they use listening skills and talk about how they need to listen to God. So this week's craft is a prayer telephone. I'll show you a bit in more detail. So what you need to do first is print onto some paper, onto some card, this template. So it's got Samuel there and Hannah. It says Hannah got up and went to pray. Then yours is Samuel says, speak Lord, I'm listening. So what we're going to do is prayer telephone. Here I have the one which we made. I'm sure many of you would have made these as kids. So you need just 2 paper cups. Once you colour in that template wrap, you can cut it out and glue it onto the cups like so. Then you need a length of string. Now we got a pretty long length of string here. It's probably about 5 meters or 5 yards for those of you in America. So it's quite a distance, and it works really well. So you need to make sure the string stays tight, and you can talk in one side, your child can listen on the other, and take it in turns to talk to each other, and you're making your own telephone. But the important thing is it keeps these verses together, how Hannah prayed, how Samuel listened. And we can talk about how we, again, need to develop this relationship with God, praying to him and listening to him. Really fun STEM activity as well. It helps with their science, technology and so on. Really reinforces some things which they will start to learn in preschool as well. So coloring pages this week, there's just a simple picture of Samuel. Again, it's a picture of Hannah, and after Samuel was born, she said, my heart rejoices in the Lord. So there's the Bible verse there and a picture of her holding baby Samuel. On the last page, there's some worship songs. I will pray, God answers prayer, and read your Bible, pray every day. And that talks about, and we will grow. Again, you click on the QR code, it'll take you to that playlist, things to pray for. Thank God that we can talk to him. Thank God that he helps us to grow in him, and ask God to help us to keep our promises. So that's it. Next week's lesson, we're going to carry on in 1 Samuel. We're going to be looking at King Saul together. So I really hope that you enjoy this lesson. Can I add a note that if you're using this lesson in a different language other than English, and you want some of the worksheets or current pages or the craft without any words on it, just drop me a message. I'll try my best to get that to you as soon as possible. Well, God bless you. I'll see you again next week as we carry on looking at the Old Testament and exploring the Bible together.